Hello, welcome back to Emperor's Path. My name's SBJ, and today we're going to be painting yellow. Welcome back. This video is one that's been requested by a lot of people. This is in fact a lie, not one person has asked me how I paint yellow. A lot of people ask me how I paint yellow. Now, yellow is one of the hardest colours to paint, whether that's using a paintbrush or an airbrush. It can be quite a challenging colour. Those of you who don't know, and trying to simplify this as much as possible, yellow has probably some of the weakest colour pigments when it comes to actually trying to put it onto something. The more pigment something has, the easier it is to paint it on. Things like black and darker colours have a much greater pigment than some of those lighter colours, such as our yellows. Now, those of you who are going to comment down below saying, just paint it on top of white, by all means leave that comment down below because it will just help the YouTube algorithm. However, if you're someone who has tried painting yellow and can't just get it right whilst painting over white, this might be the way to go for you. So I made this video a few weeks ago whilst I was painting a repaint for my friend Paul over at St Saviour's Railway. He's going to love that little plug because he always thinks I don't mention him enough. I thought it was worth just recording my process and how I paint yellow. Now, this is a short process, but it's something that I think if you have struggled to paint yellow in the past, this could be really, really useful, especially if you're someone who models Network Rail or anything that has a flying banana in it. Now, this isn't by all means the only way to paint yellow, and you may not find that this yellow painting process is the best for you. How many times can I say yellow painting process in this video? However, this is a way that I find goes on quickly, has the best coverage, and just makes my life a lot easier. Painting a lot of diesels, you find that you have a lot of yellow ends at least. Bear in mind, you then may be painting other yellow parts of X, Y, and Z. This is the quickest and easiest method I've found to get yellow onto a loco, and also when you're painting things like Warhammer and Space Marines as well. So sit back, grab yourself a cuppa or a strong drink, and we're going to have a look at painting yellow. I'll see you at the end. Okay, so I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to paint yellow. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this already, but here's a tutorial because people have asked for it. So we need to paint these yellow ends. Now, yellow is a notorious colour for allowing you to put it on nice and easy. Now, a lot of people will say, let's put it over white. Kudos to you if you can do that. I found that that's actually quite a struggle sometimes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with pink. Now, the three colours that you're going to need for this, possibly two, depending on the shade of yellow that you need to do. So we're going to use Emperor's Children Pink by Citadel. We're going to use Avalon Sunset as the next colour, and then depending if you need to make it a slightly lighter yellow, you can use this Uriel Yellow to make it just that little bit lighter, which I think on this one I'm going to do. So just a quick step by step before we actually start. We're going to be doing the pink on here and making that come up, and what the pink does is it adds a natural shade to the yellow as well, so in the nooks and crannies and stuff. It's really easy with yellow, especially if you're going over white, to miss it and then it's glaringly obvious. So if you go over with the pink, you're adding a nice undertone to the yellow when it goes on. You're going to see what I mean. It looks really weird when you put the pink on, but I'll come back to you in a sec. Okay, so we've got the pink on, and for some reason my camera's deciding to not show it up as bright as it's actually appearing. But next we're going to be using the Avalon Sunset. Now, you don't need to get the air version of this. I just prefer it because it's so much easier going through the airbrush on it. I think that is possibly the best yellow for model railways, and you can always go darker with it or lighter with it, but it's a really good starting yellow. I put it in my airbrush cup, put it on. And there we go, there's a yellow. Look, it's such a good technique. It sounds bonkers. If you have no problem painting yellow, you'll be fine. But I think that this goes on far easier and covers quicker and better by doing it over the pink. I'm going to do the other end, but just as a comparison, that's the yellow we've just done. That's the pink. And it's crazy how that small colour is the one that's making us be able to do this bright colour. So just a quick, there's our pink. That's what we've just painted over. And the airbrush has come out of that quickly, efficiently, and it is so bright and strong. It's a no-brainer to me. I'm going to tidy up the other end, and I'm going to get in all the nooks and crannies, but you don't need to see that to see how well this does. Now, the good thing about the pink as well is that the pink sits in the recesses really easily, so if you do miss it, it adds that natural shading, which is really important with airbrushing, and it's one of the problems where when you work from a light undercoat to a darker colour, it's one of the biggest problems you'll find is that you miss that natural shading. So it's why I try and work from a darker colour to a lighter colour, and it adds natural highlights. Pink, yellow, let's tidy this one up. Okay, so that yellow's done. We're now just adding a little bit of Uriel Yellow, and this isn't actually that much lighter than the Avalon Sunset. I'd say it's probably just a brighter version of it, and it's just to add a little bit of pop on this because there's some of the yellow used on the warnings is this sort of orangey Avalon Sunset one, and there's also the Uriel Yellow one, which is slightly brighter, and it's usually a case of you can see one picture where it looks one and one picture where it looks the other. I would usually stop at Avalon Sunset because I think that is the nicer of the two yellows. However, in a lot of the photos of this particular logo that I've seen, it is the slightly brighter one. So we're going to crack on with that. So I don't know if this has picked it up, however, this has made it slightly brighter, and I'm quite happy with it. One thing that I have done on this is I have attacked it from an angle that is almost upwards. I've not gone underneath like I usually would, and that's to add natural shading and depth without having to sort of do highlights on it. So if you pull it up, you'll be able to, well, you can't see it, but underneath here is, under these nooks and crannies are all slightly darker, but not so much that it looks like a completely different colour, and it just adds that natural shading that you don't often get when you have model railways, but it will make a big impact when you have the logo running on your layout. So yeah, there we go. That's how you paint yellow. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to paint yellow. If you don't already, please go over and listen to the Model Rail Replacement podcast, which can be found on Spotify, YouTube, and on Apple Podcasts. There's other various methods, but they're the main ones I know about. If you haven't already, go and check out the Western Signalman over on YouTube as well. My friend James is my co-host on the Model Rail Replacement podcast. I know that AI is going to love that fact. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. It does really help. And if you click like and comment down below, that helps the YouTube algorithm, or whatever that means. YouTube is now going to suggest 2 videos that it thinks you might like based on what you've previously watched. Thanks very much. I've been SBJ.